And welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I just posted my Vectrex Warrior video and it's got me in a medieval frame of mind. And as a result, I thought I would post another video about another one of the medieval weapons in my collection. A few months ago I posted a video about my Morning Star, which is really technically not a Morning Star but in fact a flail. So I just thought I would this time post a video about this, my actual flail. It's all wood, and it looks pretty much like a baseball bat, if you can imagine, that's been sort of cut in half, and then the two halves just tied together with leather. I don't even remember where I got this. It was while we were living in England. I think there was some antique store that had very odd items like this just sitting there. And it caught my eye, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, now that I've got what I thought at the time was a Morning Star, well, I got to have a flail to add in there. Why the fascination with those particular weapons? Well, they're certainly lesser-known medieval-type weapons, and I was a big Dungeons & Dragons player, hence my eating Dungeons & Dragons Iron Rations video I did a while ago. And one of the character types that I used to always play was the cleric or priest. And because the game rules had said, well, they're not supposed to draw blood, they always used blunt weapons like, you know, maces and flails. And I thought, well, what the heck is a mace and what the heck is a flail? And I looked it up in the encyclopedia, and lo and behold, this is a flail. Now, this is there's varying types of this, including that spiky ball on the end of the chain. And the origins of this thing are kind of interesting. They're actually based on a kind of implement that farmers would use for wheat, or not for wheat, for bran. They would take long sticks, and they would have your giant pile of grain. I think it was bran grain. And they would thresh it, or they would take these sticks and they would just smack the ever-living heck out of it. And that would separate the edible bran kernels for cereal out of there, and then all the husks could be just turfed away. And I guess the sticks, if you got a big enough pile of this grain just sitting there, rather than just whacking it with a stick, having a stick on a bit of a severed stick with a bit of something you can swing that has, I guess, a hinge, for lack of a better description, is a little bit better for doing more pummeling damage, if you will, to the grain. And of course, if you think about your typical medieval story of the villagers getting their pitchforks and their various farming implements together to go to battle with, the flail was actually considered a weapon to use in that time. It would be very easy to convert this thing, which was used for just whacking a bunch of grain, and making it a little bit more potent. Now, from what I gather in researching this, what they would often do is attach spikes, or they would rivet on strips of metal and either give it like little rounded shapes, or just something to reinforce it, to turn this into a bit more of a lethal type of a weapon. I'll insert a picture of what a flail like that looks like. Just got this one off the web. And as you can see, this one would definitely be a lot more painful than this little thing I've got here. Having said that, I think this would probably do a very nasty bruise. I mean, you're basically talking about a policeman's baton that if I was to swing, would probably do quite a bit of damage. Now, what I've got here, and I don't even remember what store I got this from, but this is, because it's fairly small, this would clearly be designated or best identified as a one-handed flail. You hold it there and you swing away with the other end. But apparently the more common or more used in battle version is the two-handed flail. As you can see in this woodcut, this is what a two-handed flail probably looked like and how it was swung about. Now, this weapon was not only used in Europe, but it's actually known to be used in Asia. And anybody who's watched their fair share of kung fu films recognizes this also looks a heck of a lot like the nunchucks or nunchaku that you see in a lot of ninja movies and martial arts films. Here is an image of Bruce Lee, who was very famously using nunchaku in quite a few of his films. But unfortunately, from what I gather, the nunchaku was actually not that great of a weapon, even though Bruce Lee made it look awesome. It was apparently so hard to control. It was actually more used for training, for getting better better hand-eye coordination, better speed of being able to rapidly move your arms and your hands, and to tighten your flexibility and muscle strength. And so therefore, apologies to Bruce Lee and all other fans of martial arts, but the nunchaku would not have actually been used as a weapon. Cowabunga! And of course, anybody who's into gaming also knows the nunchaku has actually migrated to the Nintendo Wii. The Wii remote is really, really good, but kind of a limited type of controller, so they decided, well, we better add in another thing you can plug into the side that would allow you to do a few more game types. And so this control scheme was created, and I think it's a really smart idea. And because it's this extra connector that's got this wire holding the whole thing together, it just got nicknamed the nunchuck in reference to the nunchaku. So yeah, the nunchaku lives on in modern gaming in this, the nunchuck for the Nintendo Wii. And there it is. There is my medieval flail. I'm very happy to have this in my collection because I used quite a few flails when I played Dungeons & Dragons without really knowing what they looked like. When I saw this in the antique store in England, I thought, right, that is a flail. I'm buying it so that if I ever need to explain to somebody the difference between a flail or a morning star or any of those other weird weapons that you don't hear enough about in medieval fantasy, this is what a flail looks like. And I guess it makes sense, too. If you ever use the phrase flailing about, well, obviously it's this kind of awkward swinging two pieces thing. And actually, because they're kind of awkward to use, as the nunchaku proves, it wasn't actually that common of a weapon. But anyway, I just thought it was really, really fascinating. Final note, on the subject of Dungeons & Dragons, my brother is considering doing a YouTube channel which is going to involve some Dungeons & Dragons gameplay. He's still sort of in the early stages of thinking of dabbling in that, but when he gets his channel up and running, I'll make mention of it and you can check him out. But anyway, in the meantime, that's the video, so until next time, I'll see you down the rabbit hole.